Hello everybody. In my previous lecture I have taught you how to find the matrix multiplication. Right? The concepts is already discussed. So now let us see how to write the C equivalent program in order to perform matrix multiplication. So hash include stdio dot h and we can start with void main. Okay, so we require to have the order of matrix A, first order of matrix A, then the order of matrix B we require, right? Then what else we require? Then matrix A we require and matrix B is required. This is the inputs we require. So let us declare int. So for matrix A, let us take the order as m and n. In general, m and n. For B, let us take it as p and q. P and q. So you know that in order to keep track of the rows and columns, we can just make use of the index as I and j. And one more index we required for k. Okay, then the matrix, so we can just give the size as A of 10 10, then B matrix. Okay, then one more resultant matrix where we can tell C of 10 10. Okay, if some more variables are required, let us declare later. Now what is required? The order of matrix A. Enter the order of matrix A. Okay, so how do you enter? Scanf, just m and n we are supposed to read, no? So percentage A, ampersand m and ampersand n. So whatever the order you enter will get stored in m and n. Same way for matrix B order we have to read. Enter the order of matrix B. Okay, so scanf, we are going to store it in P and Q. P and Q. Okay, now we have read the order of matrix A and matrix B. Now what we have to do? We have to check the rules of matrix multiplication. What is the rules? Matrix multiplication is possible only if this n and p are same. If n and p are not same, then we cannot perform the matrix multiplication. So first let us write that rule. So we can just write it as if n is not equal to p. If n is not equal to p, then what is it? What we have to print it as? Printf. Okay, matrix multiplication not possible. Okay, then we can just write it in else it is possible to compute. So if it is possible to compute, then we are supposed to read the elements of matrix A, right? So printf, enter the elements of matrix A. I can say matrix A. Okay, so now how to enter matrix A, elements of matrix A? So how to enter here? 1. So we have to make use of 2 for loops, right? This is 2-dimensional array. So to keep track of rows, we have to make use of I, and to keep track of columns, we have to make use of j. So let us write it as for I is equal to 0, I is less than, what we have to write? For matrix A, the rows is m, I plus plus. Okay, inside this for loop, to keep track of column, Okay, j is less than n because the column is represented by n. J plus plus. So we are supposed to write a scanf statement. One element we are going to read, right? So we have to store it in a of ij. So how does the reading happen? First I is initialized to 0, right? Then 0 is less than 2. In case if I have taken m and n as 2, then it is true, it will come here. J is initialized to 0 and 0 is less than 2, true. So a of 0 0, you are going to place the element what? 1. Okay. So next what is going to happen? J is going to get incremented by 1. 1 is less than 2, so I is still 0. So a of 0 1 into a of 0 1, the next element if you enter 2 will get placed here. Now I have to enter my element into the next row. So what should happen? So j will get incremented to 2. 2 is not less than 2, it fails. So it will control will jump to the outermost loop, that is I will get incremented to 1. So 1 is less than 2. So what happens is we can place the next elements in the next row. So now a of 1 0. A of 1 0, we can place the element 3. Next j will be incremented to 1. So a of 1 1, we are going to place the element 4. Like this we are able to read the matrix A. Same way try to read the matrix B. Same code you can just write. Okay. So write printf enter the elements of matrix B. Okay. So two for loops, I is equal to 0, I is less than what we should write? P. For matrix B it is P cross Q, right? So we can write it as P I plus plus. So no need to put the brackets, since only innermost is only one statement is there. So without putting clever brackets also we can write P and Q J plus plus. Okay. So what we are supposed to write? Scanf percentage D. Okay. And then what is it? Ampersand B of ij. So like this we are going to read the matrix A and B. Now the computation part. See, if you want to print again the what is there in matrix A and matrix B, you can do it by using again elements of matrix A are for two for loops, and instead of scanf you have to write it is just as printf. Okay. Printf, if we just give printf instead of scanf, you can print the elements of matrix A and matrix B. Same thing, instead of scanf, you have to give as printf. Okay. Now, next part of the code will be like this, as I have already discussed in the previous lecture, how to compute the resultant matrix C. How do you compute the resultant matrix C? That is 1 into 5 and then 2 plus 2 into 6. How to do that? I have already explained it. So we are just going to write that for loops. Okay. So K is the innermost for loop we are written here. Okay. And J, since J is going to change here from 0 to 1. So J will be here, and I is going to change after this row. Okay. So I is being put as the outermost one. Row. I represent row, J represents the column, K represent row or particular column. Okay. So here we are going to write it as C of ij is equal to C of ij plus A of ik into B of kj. So you know that A of ik, this is A of ik, and then this is B of kj. That is how we wrote this code. So now we are written the computation, how to do it. Right. So now let us print it. Okay. The computation result. Okay. Computation result will be there in C matrix. So we can write print the resultant matrix. Okay. Printf resultant matrix. Okay, so again we require to have two for loops. So I is equal to 0, I is less than, so what should be the resultant matrix will be of the form M and Q. Okay, so M rows, okay, and then for printing put the bracket J is equal to 0, J is less than, Q I have to write J plus plus. Okay, so printf, right, printf, so I have to print it only number and I will give a slash tab. Okay, from where I have to get, from C of ij, what I stored it in C of ij, from there I have to get the elements. So close these things. So if I want to get it in the form of matrix only, that is after printing one row, J loop fails, it has to go to the next line. So as soon as J loop fails, here it will print the next line and it will jump to I and we can compute for the next element. Okay, so what happens is, in this case 17 and 16 will be printed first, then J loop fails, right, then next line it will go to the next line and it will print 39 and 16. So we have to put the bracket, and once J loop fails it will go to I and then it will. Okay, this is how we are supposed to do. So first we are going to declare it, read the size. If it is not equal, we are going to print it as matrix multiplication not possible. Then we are going to read the elements of matrix A, just two for loops, one will keep track of the row, one will keep track of the column. So we are storing the elements in matrix A, and again we are going to read the elements into matrix B by using I for row and J for column. Remember one thing, the order here. Okay, and then finally we do the computation. This part is very important here, 3 for loops and this code C of ij is equal to C of ij plus A of ik into B of kj. Okay, then finally to print the resultant matrix, we are going to make use of 2 for loops. This just contains rows and columns. Okay, so we are going to print the C matrix. Okay, thank you.